I'm still here, and if I said if I can, I know that you can, if I stop crying about everything and praise God for everything. Just suck it up and get through it. Come on, girl, you can. Ain't nothing coming your way that you can't take. And when you're ready to make a mistake, take a deep breath down and remember how I made it.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. It is Tammy Carpenter of Simply Tammy. I am live again for another wonderful Women Who Win segment. So if you are listening in and this is your first time, please go ahead and jump in the comments. Let me know who you are and where you're listening from. Let our guests know that you are glad to be here and you're excited to hear from her. So glad you're joining us again. And thank you guys who have been consistently watching for shifting with me between Wednesdays and Thursdays. I like to do that to accommodate the guests that I invite. So I don't have one standard day. Sometimes it's on Wednesday, sometimes it's on Thursday. So thank you guys for being willing to shift with us. Thank you guys for sharing the video, sharing the flyers, because again, this platform is to inspire and encourage women. So I invite my guests who are willing to be transparent, to share their experiences, to encourage you that no matter where you are, you can navigate to where you need to be. So I am not going to prolong it. I'm going to read my guest bio so that we can bring her on. I've had so many people comment on the poster about how much they love her and they are excited to hear from her. And I am equally excited. So good evening, those of you that have chimed in already. Hey, Brandy. Hey, Dr. K. Hey, CJ. Thank you, ladies, for joining in. If you guys don't mind, share the video. If there's anyone else watching, go ahead and jump in the comments and let me know who you are and where you're watching from. So my guest tonight is Lisa McClendon. And her bio reads, Lisa McClendon is an international award-winning singer-songwriter who's received both Dove and Stellar Award nominations and Grammy Award recognition. She uses her pen and her voice to inspire greatness in people through her music, books, and speaking, to which she refers to simply as conversations. So I am going to go ahead and bring Lisa into the screen. Good evening, good evening, good evening, Lisa.
Yeah.
It is so exciting to have you here tonight. When I reached out, I was, as you told me, I guess I contacted you at the right time because other people were not able to get you scheduled, but I was so glad that you were able to say yes to this one. And like many of the people who have reached out and commented as they saw you were my guest, we have been loving your music and your sound for years. I think it was mid 2000s I stumbled upon, I think it was the Shabak Entertainment website at that time, and was able to capture My Diary Your Life.
Ooh, yes. Done my homework.
Yes. So once I had that project, I was hooked from that day forward. So have followed your career, and so glad that you're able to be with us tonight. So how is it in Florida this evening?
It is is there echo? Do you hear echo?
I don't. Am
Okay,
I
cool.
echoing to you?
I sound like I was echoing, but if you're good,
Okay. No, you
okay,
sound
cool.
good.
Okay, great. It rained all day. I have no complaints. I love the rain. Kind of semi still home. I'm recovering from a recent surgery. I'm out a little bit, but most 90% of the time I'm home. So I just loved and enjoyed the rain. So a lot of rain this time of year. It is hurricane coming up on hurricane season,
Mm-hmm.
Florida. But yeah, definitely a lot of rain. Just but very peaceful. You can tell the fall is coming. So yeah,
Good.
no complaints.
Good. So we're going to jump right in. I have see some other ladies. My sis Charlene is on. She's been excited. She's another fan of yours. My friend and sister Valerie, Shamice. Thank you, ladies, again for chiming in. Hope you're sharing the video. So many of us know you as singer, songwriter, recording artist. So let's backtrack and let's talk about, when did singing start for Lisa? When did you know that there was a voice that needed to be heard there?
Well, I actually have been singing all my life. I so it's funny because I talked to somebody recently and I didn't realize it as I was sharing. We were like the Jackson Fives growing up. So, like literally, my brothers and sister and I, we all sang in a band. Our parents were my parents. My mom played the piano and organ.
Wow.
My dad played the drums, guitar, bass. My brothers played drums, and we all sing in church. Like we were little. And I remember sharing with somebody. It's funny because we didn't want to come inside and practice. We wanted to go outside and play. And my mom was like,
Oh,
"You can't practice." And I used to hate that. I was like,
really?
so that's where it kind of started. I come from a musical family, so
Okay.
everybody can sing or play an instrument. And I actually grew up I was really afraid of the stage. It's the
Mm.
weirdest thing. Um, but there's a story that just kind of broke it all. And do you remember Star Search?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
There was a local Star Search in my city called the Gospel Star Search. And
Okay.
I had to, I didn't have to, but my mom signed me up. I was kind of getting a little bit more bold or, whatever. My mom signed me up to be a part of it. She got me a vocal coach and everything, and a performance coach, and they taught me how to kind of work across the stage or whatever. And I got there to perform, and I don't want to say rivalry, but the girl in my city that I feared to ever sing with or along next to, she was my competition.
Your Goliath showed up.
My life showed up. Well, I want y'all to know, honey, I won that competition, and the rest is history. How about it? Boom. Yeah,
Yes.
honey,
Come on, David.
yeah, I know I never thought about David and Goliath. That is a true story. Like, yes, I just remember I was
Wow.
so I didn't. Oh, it was crazy, but yes, I ended up winning and just continued to sing and
Mm.
just landed in the right place at the right time to go national. So,
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah.
Amazing. Hey, MJ. I see you. My friend in Charleston is on the line. So, um, when I first started listening to your music, like I said, it was mid 2000. I think you said My Diary Your Life came out in 02.
2000, 2002.
Okay. You sang with such a freedom is your
Yeah.
presentation was different, your lyrics were different, your voice was different. So being a young woman in church, it was amazing to hear a Christian artist singing those lyrics and having your own unique style. So um this is going to be kind of a two-part question. First of all, who were your musical influences?
Mm-hmm.
And then where did you find that level of freedom to come out like that coming from a church
So my influences, all jazz, straight up jazz. Ella Fitzgerald, I listen to Ella Fitzgerald a lot.
background? Okay.
A lot. And I listen to a lot of jazz. And I think what happened for me, even though I was raised in the church, I had a lot of freedom because of my mom.
Okay.
My mom was really, like I said, my dad is a Pentecostal preacher, but my mom was raised in the Baptist church.
Okay, I was going to say because now, but from the old school lyrics, I was like, now if she was raised in a
That
strict crowd, but
Yes.
I get it,
You
I get
see,
it.
my
Yeah.
mom was that balance, and then my dad was really kind of lenient too. Even though he's a Pentecostal preacher, at home he was lenient. So for my parents, for me, my mother let me listen to the radio, whatever I want to listen to. She would just always told me to be careful of the words, and
Mm-hmm.
she always told me to not fall asleep with the radio on, because back then radio stations would change. So I may go to sleep with jazz playing and wake up with something crazy on,
Right.
So my parents would go on trips and come home, and I remember them bringing me back a CD, Mika Parrish. I think it was Mika Parrish. She's a London R&B artist, and my parents they always brought me that kind of music. I don't know if they just saw something in me. I don't know, but I just remember them bringing me, and they just introduced it to me. And then also my dad sang in a quartet.
Okay, Daddy.
And I don't know if y'all know this, but if y'all need to go back and listen to quartet music. Quartet music was before its time. Like that to me was the real soul music. So I grew up on the Soul Stirrers, Willie Neal Johnson and the Gospel Keynotes, the Williams Brothers. If it was a quartet group, I knew of them, and that was
Wow.
always in my house. And then we listened to a lot of the Hawkins family. They were way before their time.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like you go back, and you're like, they got away with that. But I remember the 8-track. We had a silver 8-track in our living room.
Yeah.
And I remember listening to Tremaine. I remember listening to Old Happy Day, and that was like borderline blasphemous. Come on. Where you going to hell? You let me know this.
Right.
My parents were just cool like that. And so I think because of their love for music, they didn't limit us. And it just kind of, so that allowed me to be exposed to so much. And then I was just landed in the right hands. My producer, the first producer that I worked with, Mo Henderson, I landed in the right hands with him.
That's
He
good.
was that dude. He was just that dude that was like, you need to be you. And of course, we see all kind of flavors of gospel music now, which is such a blessing. But back then, the platform wasn't big enough to see everybody. So it was taking a chance, stepping out and doing something different. Now it wasn't different to us, but it was different for those that hadn't been exposed to it.
Right.
But he was like, "Let's do it," and it just
Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah. Because when you think a genre has a sound and you start hearing this, it's like, oh wow, like this is pretty cool. So
Yeah.
As you begin to develop your career and your first project came out, how are you as an artist still maintaining, because I'm assuming you're probably a young adult woman when you released this first project. How are you maintaining your personal life with also trying to grow a career at the same time? Because you you have 2 children that at some point during your career you birthed, and so let's talk about how you were maintaining both personal life and career.
Well, my daughter came a lot with me when she was younger. I
Okay.
remember I had the tour in Europe, but she went with us. Like, come on, baby, we're going to Europe. So my daughter traveled a lot with me. I remember even doing shows in the States, and people would come up to me and say, "Is that your daughter at the merchandise table? She's so friendly." She'd be like, she was literally 4.
Oh wow.
helping with merchandise. So
That we really didn't have a problem with that. And when I was on the road with maybe the management team, she would stay home with her dad. So I just really had a good support system.
Okay.
So it was never a problem. And then when Josh came along 5 years after her, um, again, dad was home, so he was home with dad. And then Josh, he traveled some with me. Diamond traveled more with me than Josh did. But
Okay.
by then they was home a lot more with dad. And then, but yeah, it never was an interruption. I wish I would have had them travel more as they gotten older, because they even said to me, "Now, Mom, we just stopped traveling with you." But they really enjoyed it, so it was good.
Okay.
They got that exposure. They was able to
Hmm.
see and travel with me. So definitely, I just encourage anybody, don't take your kids along for the ride. Take them along for the ride.
Okay. So you are a young woman with a different sound, a different flair, a different look. Um, did you ever have to fight being labeled as to who you should be and how you should sound, considering you are a Christian in a genre that we classify as gospel music, but your sound is more jazzy or your sound is more soul? Did you ever have to battle with labels?
Um, so that's a really good question. I do feel like I never quite fit in. Like I was too worldly for the church and too churchy for the world. It's like it was just like nobody knew what to really do with me. Now,
Mm,
now people know what to do with these artists. They know what to do because it's working now. But back then,
mm-hmm.
I always hear people say stuff like, it's flattering. I appreciate the compliments, but they'll say, "Man, she was so underrated. She don't get the recognition she." But you have to understand, I came out doing MySpace.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I came out doing MySpace. What I was doing was just coming. It was just coming off the runway. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
nobody labels did not know what to do with me. Now
Mm-hmm.
labels, that's all they signing. They sign it. They want to sign different. And back then, it was like it was Israel. It was the Sunday morning worship. And I remember, to answer your question, I remember every time I did an album, one of the things that was one of the clauses in my contract was not the first label, but the second label that I was on, which is a major label. I had to cover one or two, at least one of that label's catalogs of worship songs. And
Mm.
that was usually, oh, now I get it. And that was usually the song they pushed.
That's probably why we know you are holy, but we don't
But
know
you
capture.
you
We
don't know,
don't know capture.
you don't know.
Ah,
I was set up, girl. I
come
didn't do
on
that
now.
at just nine. So hey, okay, so I remember so I remember being in the biggest fight with the label because they wanted "You Are Holy," which is done well, but it
Mm-hmm.
was between "You Are Holy" and "Hey Now."
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted "Hey Now" because I felt like "Hey Now" represented the artist that I was. And my thing
Mm-hmm.
was then release "You Are Holy" second. Girl, when I tell you they fought me about that song, they fought me, and of course I didn't win. I wasn't winning, it was their money. But they fought me, and and it
Wow.
was just like, and I
Okay.
remember the second album we did, like we were like halfway through, and the label came through and was like, scratch this, scratch that, scratch this. The NRL was like, scratch, scratch, scratch. And she was like, it's too risque, it's too this. And I got some songs through on the second album. There's a song called Accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And honey, she was scared about that song. And I was just like, well,
Oh,
this is what y'all signed. Like y'all gave me your word you wasn't gonna change me. You gave me your word that
wow.
you were not going to change me. You actually told the person that that connected us together, you gave them your word that you were not gonna change me.
Mm.
It's the nature of the business, so I get it.
So the perspective of being a woman, and you know that you have a gift, you know who you are, you know that you even have an audience, even though you didn't know how many fans you
Mhm.
probably had back then, but we were like we took a road trip one time to come hit you.
Oh, that's
Um,
so sweet.
but what is that doing to you internally when people are saying we want you, but we don't really want you?
So back then,
Yes, yes, back then.
that's a great question. Um, Back then I dealt with a lot of rejection, and it wasn't from the fans. It was never from the fans. It was never from those that supported me on the other side. It was always the rejection that I fought with within the industry.
Okay.
Some of that was me. Definitely, some of that was my own insecurities because I had to grow through some things personally. But it was. I had to learn one day, Lisa. It wasn't all you. It wasn't all you. And don't even take that on. It wasn't all you. It crushed because it put me in a mental place where I felt like everybody was against me, even though that wasn't true. Like everybody was against me. I remember having a couple of run-ins with some big name artists that okay, I'm gonna tell y'all a story, but I'm not gonna say the artist name.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell y'all like this really happened to me. I got people that can prove that this happened to me. Y'all listening?
We listening.
We were at the gospel, not the GMA, the gospel GMAs. I can't remember the name of them, but it's the GMAs and then the gospel GMAs. Dang. Anyway, but we were there, and Smokey Norfolk was just coming up, and I had just met Smokey because he and I did a show together in North Carolina, and we hit it off really good. Just the sweetest guy ever, sweetest guy. And so I saw him at the convention. And I was so excited to see him. I can't even believe this. I'm telling the story. I was so excited to see him. And so, and he was so embracing. So I ran and I was like, hey, he was like, hey. So we talking, and this other artist, this big artist, A-list artist, came up behind us. Now I had just met that big artist for the first time face to face at the GMAs, who had complimented me and was like, man, you the truth. And I was like, oh, wow. And I was just like taken back. I don't know what happened between there and there. It's funny now. It hurt then, but it's funny now. But I was talking to Smokey, and the person walked up on us, got in between us, and started talking like, no, he didn't get in between us. He got in between us, but he was side by side. We was talking in face, Smokey was facing, and he got it in between us, but he was facing that way. He was like, hey, Smokey, da da da. And Smokey kind of looked at him. He looked at me. He looked at him again, and he said, hey, so you know Lisa McClendon? Oh, yeah, I met her. Come on, man. And yes. And pulled him off and left.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
And I was so heartbroken. I went to talk to, I know y'all know the artist Tone. Tone is like a really good friend of mine, a brother. And we were on tour. We had just come off a tour that time, and he saw me and he was asking me what was going on. And I told him what happened, and he went and confronted him. He's like, that's my little sister. Don't talk to her, like, don't come, And he's like, oh, I didn't even see her, man. I didn't even. And so he apologized later. I felt like it was disingenuous. He came and got on his knees and was trying to apologize. But that is one of the many stories I have. There's stuff like that happening to me. And again, like I say, I think some of that, when you're insecure, you draw insecurity.
Oh, wow.
When you're insecure, you are a magnet and you attract situations that, because it's for you to deal with it. Because I don't, right now in my life, Tammy, I am huge about, I cannot change anybody. And I always tell folk that I allow in my space, look, I'm not trying to change you, but understand I can make an adjustment.
Yes.
So if you find yourself blocked and delete, just know I made an adjustment. If you find yourself, you can't reach me no more, just know I made an adjustment. Because I'm never going to use my energy to change you.
Yes.
You're hearing about me, your interaction with me, but I can change me. And so I wish I would have learned that earlier, but God knows. But those are a lot of things like that I went through. And it kind of made it seem like, that she was difficult to deal with at times for some people in the industry, but they didn't realize that I was being done like that on a regular. And I was young. I was in my 20s, like in my 20s. I was a 90s millennial. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't know how to deal with that rejection. I looked up to these people, and I wasn't getting the love. I mean, I have people telling me we're family on TV. This is my girl on television when we're doing interviews, and then when the lights stop, you don't know me. I didn't know it was a game. I didn't know it's not a game, a business. I didn't know that. So it was a lot that I had to learn. It's a business. It's nothing you should take personal. It's just a business.
Right, right. And I'm glad that you shared from that perspective because, um, you had to deal with it as an artist, but as women in general, we go through moments and phases that crush us, that are part of that making, are part of that processing. So as you are going through this, you're an artist, you're a mother. What is telling Lisa to keep going outside of your faith? Like, what made Lisa continue to believe in Lisa?
I never knew until 2 years ago that I'm very competitive. I did not know that I'm competitive. I don't like to lose.
Okay.
So I have started many businesses in my life, even as a kid. I've started several businesses, failed, tried again. This don't work, I try again, something else. It's something in me where I know that there's greatness in me. I've always known that even though I came from a little town and there was no internet there was no main internet when I was coming up in the industry, I just always knew that there was something great in me that had to get out. And I didn't know what I needed to do, but I was going to keep trying. And I'm still trying.
Yes.
Like people say, well, you're Lisa McClendon. I still have not reached the peak of where I know God has anointed me to be. And I'm not going to stop. So whether that be through music, through working with kids, through the doggone stock market, whatever it's going to be. I know that I have been gifted to be great, and I refuse to let the voices in my head or the voices from somebody else that come in my head to stop me from doing that. So I just I'm gonna keep figuring it out. So I just keep figuring it out, and as I go along, I realize what works and what doesn't work. Okay, that didn't work, then do that again. They didn't work, don't mess with them again. So I just keep making adjustments. You just have to make the adjustment. Make the adjustment. I just refuse to quit. I refuse. I'm sorry, I refuse.
Yes, with the shoulder and everything. I love it.
It's not an option.
Exactly.
Greatness is not an option.
So, what, being a young woman, growing and building a career, building a family, what does your circle look like at that time?
Oh, back then? I don't think I ever had a big circle. I don't think about it. I've always had just a group of people around me. I mean, my circle has always been maybe like the background singers in the band and my immediate management. And over the years, my circle is this. Like, I just, and what's funny? I'm a people person. But your questions are so amazing. Like, they're so prophetic. Wow.
Well, don't say that because one of my friends is gonna eat me up about what you just said. I already know.
Questions are prophetic. Because as I was preparing, like I said, throughout today was a thinking day for me. And I was assessing my circle that is not huge. And I started thinking, oh my God. Okay. And I was thinking how it can be lonely. Like I'm a single woman, but I love being single. Don't get that. So that's what I mean about being lonely. I mean, like having a bunch of people around me, come over, hang out. That's just not, it's never really been me. And it's not that I have never desired it. It's just, it doesn't work out that way for me because everybody don't get me.
Yeah.
Everybody don't get me. And this lady told me when I was 15 years old, first of all, my name Lisa means consecrated, set apart. That's what Lisa means. It means consecrated, set apart.
Come on now.
All my life, I tried to fit in. I tried to get in. I tried to stay in. I tried to be in. And I would just get kicked out. And I grew up just trying to be a part, just trying to fit in. And anyway, so I started reflecting today, doing my reflection time today about all the greats. They always were a loner. So you saw Martin Luther King with all these people around him, and I'm not saying I'm Martin Luther King, but you saw Martin Luther King with all these people around him, but you hear the stories of him still being alone. So it was a lot of bodies around me, but I was always alone. So it just reminds me that whatever God has on me, I just have to accept that everybody can't be around me. And I gotta protect the anointing on my life. I gotta protect my energy. I gotta protect my space. And I'm welcome to people who can honor that. But if it can't be honored, and I get it, everybody's in a different place. I have to know that it's okay for you to keep because you gotta protect this.
Exactly.
So my circle is really small. I wish it could be bigger, but it's really not. And I guess I'm learning to be okay. I'm not quite there, but I'm learning to be okay with it.
Yeah, and as long as there's quality in the circle,
yes,
yeah, the size of it, yeah,
yeah.
I get you. I get you fully. So let's fast forward. You dropping projects, we jamming to your music. So we got My Life, My Diary, Your Life. We got soul music. Then you did the 5 a.m. project.
House of Blues.
No, House of Blues. Wait a minute. Let me pause. Yes. Live from the House of Blues. Hot. Yes.
I was pregnant.
Really?
Girl, yes. When we recorded that album, I was huge.
Honey.
Yes, I went in labor 2 weeks later. I was 2 months early. That was hard. That album was, people don't understand. That album was hard.
But you did your good work.
I did. We did it. That
you did.
I know. Joshua is here today. But that album was hard. I couldn't hardly breathe. I remember Tina Campbell, me and Tina and Erica and a couple of the folks, we did a show together. And Tina was talking to me backstage. She said, listen, don't you let these people. She's like, you don't end up winning labor. And she was right. Like, I was trying to hurry up and get that done and go home. I went in labor 2 weeks later.
Wow.
She was absolutely right. She was like, honey, go home, sit down.
Wow.
I made it home. Child.
Oh my, yeah. That So up until that, like thinking about those first 3 projects, were you doing all of your writing, or?
First album, yes. Second album, I allowed. That was the first time I allowed somebody else to come in. No, all of them. Okay, yeah. So the first album had a song, "Clean Me, Wash Me." I didn't write. Yeah, I didn't write that one.
You didn't what?
I didn't write that one.
Okay.
I didn't write that. I didn't write that one.
Did you write How Can I Say?
Yeah, I wrote that one. Come on, you know the
honey.
Yeah, I wrote How Can I Say?
That song do me every time.
I love how to go listen to that afterwards. How can I? Yes, I wrote that one. And then I didn't write on the second album. I did not write Truth Is. Somebody else wrote Truth Is. I think, and then of course You Are Holy is a old Scott Wesley Brown single song. People think it's Fred Hammond's, but it's not Fred Hammond. And then people think it's Lisa McClendon's. It's not Lisa McClendon's. It is a Scott Wesley Brown original.
Okay.
But I like allow one person to come in and do a song or write with me on a song.
Okay. So as a writer, what inspires you? Do you and what does that process look like for you? Do you have to go into a quiet mode, quiet time, or you driving down the road and the Lord is dropping lyrics as you driving? What does that look like for you?
I'm telling you, I just live and stuff. I was like, oh, that's a song. That's a song. Like Grace, Grace, Grace. I was driving. Somebody was driving. I was in the car, and I saw a homeless down on the street, and I was like, Grace.
Come on now.
I was like, follow him, follow her.
Yes. Don't make me start singing it. Because my friends are here, honey. We'll start a little concert. Stop with the lyrics because we'll start singing.
That's how it started. And then of course I kind of thought about other scenarios, like my kids would leave or people would leave and people would not make it back home, and people would follow you like Grace, follow them here. So but the idea started when I saw a homeless man on the street.
Wow.
And I thought about Grace following all of us and home. So yeah, I've sat in church a lot. My first album, a lot of times I would sit in church and just be listening, and based on what I'm hearing, I'm like, oh, that's a song. Oh, I'll be at work taking calls in the call center. Oh, that's a song. There was a girl who worked with me. She was a stripper. I was a collection agent, and she was a collection agent. She was a stripper. Okay. And she was telling me her story, and that is how I wrote the song "Tired" on the first album.
Oh, okay.
I'm tired of the hurt and the pain.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Tired. Yeah,
Time
I'm not.
Warner.
I
That was
told you stop being serious. Please stop. 'Cause we'll
so
turn-
yes. So
Wow.
always something that has inspired a song.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. So before we I'm gonna acknowledge some of the comments because people are showing you all kind of love in the comments. I can't go back and read them all. I did see my sis Cheryl down in Atlanta on here. Um Ooh, they're reiterating a lot of the things that you said about protecting their space, their
Yeah.
peace. I'm gonna throw some of them up. MJ, I call MJ Tramika. Yes, guarded, being a gatekeeper. Charlene says live from the House of Blues, honey. Yes, that project goes
Come on,
hard.
Charlene.
She says she played the heck out of it, honey, and I still do. Tramika said, I introduced her to your music. Yes, CJ reiterates Grace. And my friends are telling me, y'all don't want me to sing because y'all know we will turn this into a whole concert. So, after the those three projects, you did two projects in 2018, the 5 a.m. project. Were and I know you have two singles, Miss Tina and Brilliant. Were those all around the same time?
Miss Tina and Brilliant came together.
Okay.
They were released around the same time. So yeah, so there was 5 a.m. There was Reality. Do you remember the
Mm-hmm.
Reality album?
Yes.
And then I did a Christmas album.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas with You. I think that was, oh my God. Ooh, is the resume that long? I'm like, that's a while.
So then you flipped the script on us, and so
She
let's
did
talk
that.
about.
She did that.
So let's talk about. I absolutely love the fact because I have had so many conversations with my friends about how we've lived in this career or this vein or under this label for so long, but there's something else that we know we want to birth or we want to do.
Right.
So you go, and I don't even want to say go from being an artist. You will always be an artist. You're still an artist. You're still the Lisa McClendon that we still love your music. But now you birthed a children's book.
Right.
Where did that inspiration come from, and how was it flipping that page?
So that was pretty easy to flip that page because I have two books prior to that.
Okay.
Yes, and I wish I would have brought them, but we'll I'll post of whatever. But my first book was for girls, a devotional for girls, a proverbial girl, 31 days of being wisdom, values, and being fabulous.
Okay.
That was released. It was like, oh my God, a top feature on the Bible app. As
Okay.
one of the top. So that was really good, and that's because and then my next book was And She Lives Happily Ever After. My journey to love after divorce, and that was a woman. That was a book. That's a book to empower women.
Yes.
So the thing about that is for the children's book, some people may not know is I've always worked with kids. So
Mm-hmm.
even when I traveled, oh my gosh, like even in London, we were in London. I would do girls sessions. I would do breakout sessions with the girls before I do a show, or
Wow.
tour up north. We would go by and visit the music academies and empower the kids there. And then I started a girls organization called Girls Life with Lisa McClendon that eventually came Proverbial Girl with Lisa McClendon. So I've always had a passion for kids. Let me make this print.
Okay.
My apologies.
No problem. You guys, while we are making this transition. Oh, she's back.
Yeah, all
I was
right,
going.
That's not something that concerned me.
Okay.
I didn't know this was going to happen, so I'm going to make sure I make this adjustment. So my apologies for that.
Oh, you good.
So I started back working with kids full time 2 years ago, and the kids that I work with are the kids that just don't get the attention that they need. And it reminded, and they lash out and they act out. And one little boy, he reminded me of my son Josh, because my son Josh, when he was growing up, he had a lot of emotional issues. He was always good academic wise, but he always had a lot of emotional issues because his father and I eventually divorced, and he did not know how to deal with that. It was very hard for him to deal with that. And so I started meeting little boys at my club and kids that I work with the same, background. I remember meeting this one little boy, and I asked him, because the adults around that were saying, "You ever met so he's so bad." And I don't believe in bad kids. Behind every child is an adult. I'm gonna say it again. Behind every kid is an adult. I never a kid, but eventually every child learns something from adults somewhere. Don't get it twisted.
That
and
is
so
good.
it was bad. So I finally met him, and I said, "Oh, you're so and so and so." And I said, "You know what I heard about you?" And he's like, "I'm bad." That's the first thing. Not that he was smart, not that he was brilliant. He said, "I'm bad." And I said, "You are not bad. And don't you ever let me hear you say it again." And I said, "Tell me something that you're proud of." And he couldn't think of anything. He couldn't think of one thing. And so I started a thing with all of my students where they have to tell Miss Lisa what they're proud of.
Oh,
and
that's
it's that I
good.
do with my own children. It's something that I do with myself. It is a ritual. It has been a ritual for me for the last 3 years. I, in my day, would telling myself what I am proud of myself for that day. Because like I always tell my son, the world is already ready to beat you down. It's your responsibility to build you up. And
Yeah.
my thing is, I get the head start. So before the day even gets going, and before the day ends, I tell myself who I am. And so that's what I teach my kids. And I wanted to put that in the book because there's not enough things out there to empower Black and brown boys in particular. And I wanted, because I remember my son saying when he was little, he was like, "Ma, it's everything for Diamond, but ain't nothing really for me." He was saying that as a kid, little kid. He's 15 now. And I just wanted to put something out there to empower our Black and brown boys to know that they are great kings and they are great leaders. And so that is my passion, to make sure our children are being empowered, because people may say, "Well, I don't deal with kids." Well, listen, let me tell you something. The same kids that you're not investing in are the same kids that are going to take care of you in the hospital. The same kids are going to be serving you at the restaurant.
Right.
The same kids that's mailing off your mail at the post office. You might want to take a little bit of time to invest in these kids, because if they're our future, how does our future look?
Exactly. So, before we talk about you, and we've kind of segued into it a little bit about your success coaching. The other two books that you mentioned for girls and for women, are those still available?
Yes, they're still available. You can actually find both of those books on Amazon. And you can find 2 of those books on my website. So we'll give them information in there.
Cool. So from the transition into writing the children's book and working with children, you are now known as Coach Lisa. Yes. Talk about that.
Because she still sings. Like, "Miss Lisa, you're famous. Coach Lisa, you're famous." Because they live on social media. "You're famous. My coach is famous." I'm like, "Okay, babies, I see you."
So talk about what that looks like for you. What do you do for children through your coaching program?
So my coaching program is called Success Coaching for Kids, which has actually been changed. That's how I was telling the website is in transition, because we're going from Success Coaching for Kids to Success Coaching, because it's been extended to women. Because what I found is that the kids that I've been coaching, their moms would actually reach back out to me or talk to me, and I'm on the phone coaching them, and I'm like, "I don't even know why you're not doing it for the women. I've been through so much. I've been through 2 marriages. I know some stuff. I'm a mother. Let me say that. I'm successfully single. In other words, I'm not a wife in waiting. I'm not waiting for nothing. I'm enjoying my life right now." So I just think that I have a lot to offer. So with the kids component, I started out because I'm a success coach for what I do with my 9 to 5. So I wanted to extend that, especially during the virtual time, to other kids. Because I have a gift in particular with kids who have big energies. These are your trouble kids. They call them trouble, that nobody can seem to get to calm down, to do their work, to pay attention, to focus. God has just given me a gift. I know how to reach those kids. And I had a lady come to me one day. She said, "You have a gift. You have a gift with big energy kids." And that's my gift. Like, I know how to make those kids feel seen. And a lot of times, kids who are the most, they're loud because you're not listening. They are the most disruptive because you're not paying attention to them. And so they're trying to do whatever they can to get your attention. And so my thing was to extend that, because, where I work, the system we work in, it's about academics. But my thing is, you want these kids to perform well, but they're not emotionally healed. They're not emotionally well. So my coaching business helps kids. We deal with the emotional part of the children so that they can perform successfully in the rest of their lives.
That's amazing. So when did you officially launch your coaching aspect?
So we launched in June.
Okay.
It was really amazing. I have a career coach of mine, and she challenged me. She was like, "Why are you not doing this? Why are you not coaching?" I was like, "I never thought about that." She was like, "Put your big shoes on and coach these kids and give them all of you." And I was like, "That makes so much sense."
Yes.
And so I even have a student in Singapore. Like, I have to get up. Like, I have a coach. One of my clients is in Singapore. I have to be up at 6 to take her call at 7 a.m. But it's really rewarding because I get to help these kids think through things. And it's heartbreaking when children feel like adults don't listen, and that's not true for all adults. But I just always want them to know that here's an adult that is listening, and I'm here to give you good advice on what you can do to get what you need to get so you can be successful. And so it's been very, very rewarding. But it's 4 weeks and 8 week sessions, and the kids come in and we just empower them, just empowering them.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is absolutely amazing. So I'm gonna throw in a little fun questions. I guess I would call them. So if you had to name your top 3 favorite songs of your music, what would you name?
Oh, but for eternity, I gave up a lifetime on even exchange your life for mine.
Yes,
come on, from it all.
Ma'am.
Number 1,
Ma'am.
I turn that all the way up in my car and just drive. I don't have nowhere to go. I just drive. I just drive
for
that song.
eternity. Yes.
That the bass. They killed that song. The bass.
What is the inspiration for writing? Because that's one of my favorites too.
That song was written at a late night session with some musical friends of mine, and we were half asleep. And the bass player just started playing this groove, and we just started that was one of them. Like, it wasn't no puff puff pass in that night. I probably wasn't no puff puff pass, but that's one of them. That was one of them certified puff puff pass songs. I thought we were just high on sleep. We was high on sleep deprivation. We were just tired, and we just got more creative, and that's how that song was birthed. That is
amazing.
Crazy. I love that song. And then I didn't know you could ask that side question. So for eternity. Oh my gosh,
Two more.
Okay. Oh, that's hard. Oh man, dang! I don't take up the time. Oh, I'm thinking.
No, you're good.
Maybe. Maybe Bigger from 5 a.m.
Okay.
Bigger on the inside.
Yes.
And I love that song because I know it was a song written
on the inside.
I was listening to a preacher preach, and I was up north singing, and he just said it. He said, "Remember, you're bigger on the inside." I said, "Oh, that's a song," and that's how I wrote the song. And then my producer and I went into the studio that night in Philly, and we recorded that song. And I was actually kind of sick that night when I recorded that song, and he pushed me. I was like, "I have no voice." He was like, "Let's get it." My voice got over.
Love it.
Oh, you know what? I'll probably want to say one of my other favorites is Makeover from the Reality album.
Yes.
And that song is about body image, which a lot of my students do with a lot of body image.
I listened to that song. My sis Charlene, that song here, she's a spoken word artist, and she has a poem called Makeover.
Shut up!
It's crazy. She was my guest last week, and I was like, "Oh, both of them have tracks called Makeover."
That's crazy. Exactly. That was about self-image. Because it is. We take our I take my time trying to look fly.
Yes.
I'm concerned how the world views me.
Yes.
And that's how we do it. Is my hair straight? Are my shoes okay? Another look in the mirror. Then I'm on my way. Gotta check my attitude. I'm poised and cool and never blue. Too much time on the outside, but not enough time on the inside. And I don't know why. And it's like we put so much emphasis on the outside, and that's what was going on with me, Tammy, in the first part of my life growing up. That was me up until 40, until age 40. I'll be 45 in a month. So up until about 40 years old, it was just this image, like that's what the industry does to you. And I never realized that I wasn't doing the inward work. So when life hit me, I had a meltdown. I lost. I had an emotional public breakdown because I had not taken the time to do the work on the inside.
Wow.
The last 4 years or about 4 years, it has been take care of Lisa. It has been a makeover on the inside. And I am a firm believer of the narrative that when you are doing the work on the inside, you ain't got to wear a bunch of makeup, okay? You still cute now, okay?
Come on through, cute. You are.
Earlier,
glowing and beautiful.
Thank you. But it's that. But you ever met somebody that have a lot of makeup on and their attitude is nasty? Their demeanor is nasty. They're rude. They're and it's just like when you do that inner work, it just the whole out of you is just attractive. It smells good. It is good. People want to be around you. So yeah.
Come on now. Look, we trying to wrap up, and you plowing new ground. You plowing new. Oh, I gotta touch on this a little bit because I know so many women get there. Like you said, you reached a point where it was breaking down to build back up. What did that look like for you? Because oftentimes, and especially, unfortunately, if we're not surrounded by the right people, and that's not always found inside church, that sometimes that's professionals outside of those walls that have to. So what was your process like? Okay, I know God, been attached to him all my life. I've written some songs of deliverance that have transformed the lives of others, but now I'm here.
Right.
What did that look like for you? And how did you turn the corner to become, because I read your post today that said your happiest moments are right now.
Right. Freaking now. So you made a powerful statement, and I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you something. You say, you're like, I know God. I didn't.
Come on now.
I didn't. I did not. I thought I did. I did. I thought I did. The God that I was taught about growing up, even as an adult, was like this.
Lisa, come on now.
This was the God that I grew up.
You got to make me grab one of these boxes up here, because that's what we put them in.
So the little box that we're talking in now, the little box that we're in,
right?
That's the box. So when life happened, that little God couldn't handle my big problem, because my problem was way bigger than the box. It was way bigger. So my emotional public meltdown was because my God was that big. So for me, I had to walk all the way away. Like I left church for a good while. I had to leave, and I had to go find God, not the God that y'all telling me one thing and y'all doing something else. You speaking faith, but you saying God gonna do this, but you always broke. You always talking about lack. No. How is God this big, but you always talking about lack? It was just so many contradictions. There were so many contradictions that I was like, I had to start thinking, wait a minute. If God is so big, and if God is so great, why did this happen? Because you got to go back. You got to go back and figure what you need to figure out.
Come on, Lisa.
I had to leave, so I left, and I just connected with God. And it was people that I would have never imagined that were not in church that put me on the right path. And I did go to counseling as well. I went to counseling. I got 2 life coaches that challenged me, that challenged my thinking. That I had to learn that I was codependent. I didn't even know I was codependent. Clinically codependent. And codependents, they attract narcissists. So I was attracting all these narcissistic personalities in my life. Honey, I was going crazy. And then God just came and he just knocked down my Legos. He just kicked over my Legos and said, now you're going to rebuild. And nobody was around me. There was nights, Tammy, I cried because I had to be by myself. I couldn't call anybody. Nobody was calling me. And God was like, I'm setting you up to bring you back. But you, because right now you're too codependent on people. And I was codependent on husband number one. I was codependent on husband number two. I was codependent on the microphone and on the stage. I was codependent behind the kids. I was leaning on everything. But the power that God has put in me, the greater is He that is in me, then I was everything but that. So when all my Legos got removed, I fell as well. And so I had to start doing a lot of reading. I read a book called As a Man Thinketh. That book changed my life. As a Man Thinketh changed my life. I read this book called The Game of Life and How It's Played. I started learning about affirmations. Some of the stuff that I was told don't do, I'm learning I should have been doing. Like prayer and meditation. You pray, you run your mouth, but meditate, you be quiet and you listen. So don't come for me about meditation is of the devil. You a lie, because that changed my life. Because I've been praying all my life and running my mouth, but I was never listening.
Come on, Lisa.
And then be quiet and listen and be still and let God speak. So I had to learn all of these things that I wasn't taught before. All these things I was told to be afraid of were the very things that set me free. And now God, there is no, like, I'm like, oh my God, like God blows my mind every single day. God is not in a box.
Absolutely.
Huge.
Honey.
You
got me wanting to flip over my whole laptop, but then that would just terminate everything we got going on right now.
Girl, I'm telling you, want to know it? Yeah, I'm telling you, my whole life, like one day my daughter was leaving the house. She literally, this is about 3 years ago, 2 years ago. She got to the door and she stopped and she looked back at me. I said, "What's wrong? You okay?" She said, "Mom, you're different. I'm proud of you. You've changed a lot." And I said, "Oh my God,
that is amazing."
Different. And she closed the door and just left. Like, my kids know me. To see the change in me, it's just like, I know that the things that I had to do for me, I had to do for me to save me.
Yeah.
I had to step up and I had to step away and step up. So that I come back right. You know what I'm saying? So the last 4 years have been growing pains, but I'm such a different person. I'm such a different person. I don't any of it.
Amazing.
Even the things that I've been through, I don't.
Yeah.
It had to happen so that I can discover where I needed to change. So no body, no situation was ever a mistake. No regrets ever in my life. It all happened the way it was supposed to happen, so that I can be where I am and where I'm going. None. Nothing is a mistake.
Child, this is good. You got me wanting to put on a women's conference and have you come, because we I feel like we need to go a little deeper.
Listen,
so we gonna be in contact on some other works that we gotta work on.
It's necessary, because our women.
You got people in the comments talking about this is a revival.
This is straight revival. This is hilarious. Listen, Charlene, step away and step up, honey. Again, nothing. Yeah, no, nothing is a mistake, child. She about to get my son's bag of knock
him down.
Tramika. I'm telling you, that's how I felt. Like God came and He just knocked off. Like He really came and just nasty knocked all my Legos down. But they needed to come down because I didn't know I was hiding. I have been hiding. And I didn't know it. So.
When I tell you have been all up in some of my conversations with my friends, and
confirmation.
Ooh, yeah, I'm trying to. Amazing. So we have been talking almost an hour.
That's what we do, honey. Look, you said when it get good.
Oh my!
But it's just.
Yeah.
So that's why I said I had to expand it. Somebody came at me and said, "You need to expand to women too," because I've been there. I see stuff all the time, and I just, like people say, "Hey, we got to get together. We tired of waiting." I'm like, "No, you ain't not happy with you yet." If you try to wait, I'm not happy with you yet. That was me. That was me. And trust me, you don't want to get no fool or in a foolish situation because you're not happy with you. I always tell people, I don't want to invite somebody to a party I'm not happy with. Why? No. I want to be happy with my own life before I invite somebody else in.
Right.
That's why I'm really enjoying my life, because I'm enjoying my life. And when the time comes to invite somebody in, you know that you're coming to a party that I actually want to be at.
Yeah.
I invited you, and I'm upstairs in the room hiding out because I don't want to.
Because I'm still dealing with my insecurities.
And I think a lot of women, a lot of us, we don't realize that's how we're doing our lives. We're inviting people in, but we're not even present in our own lives. So you got people at your party, but you're not even there. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, honey, come on through. Just come on through.
You just not there. I've been there. I feel like I've been a zombie. I was a zombie for a big portion of my life. Everybody else felt great about my music. Everybody else was being blessed. And don't get me wrong, I was being blessed. But most of the time I was dealing with depression. I was home trying to stay, dealing with anxiety, dealing with insecurity, just not knowing who liked me, who do like me, what I need to do for them to like me. And then I had to get to the place, I don't care who likes me. I do you like you? Like, I have to tell myself, there have been times recently. I said to myself, you do not have to go back and make that right, because you didn't make it wrong. And what I mean by that, a lot of times we get in situations, or we are involved in situations where we feel like we got to over apologize to people. We got to go back and apologize to you. Well, you didn't do anything, but that's insecurity when you feel like you got to apologize and you got to go over explaining yourself. I did a lot of that. And I had to learn, you don't owe anybody an explanation, and you don't have to go through your life always apologizing when you know you made the right decision for you. Yeah. We have to stop we have to stop apologizing for protecting us and for putting us first. I'm going to be selfish because I cannot give you a ride anywhere if I ain't got no gas.
Because we both gonna be sitting on the side of the road looking at each other.
I'm picking you up and I'm gonna eat. We both gonna be on the side of the road. And that's what happened to me. I was picking up people through my life, and I was on E. And finally I broke down. The gas light on, the check engine light on, and I'm still driving, picking everybody up, rescuing everybody, making the next big album, getting on the next big stage, helping the next, and never stop to check my own engine and attend to my own maintenance. And as women, we're guilty of that. We will take care of everybody's needs, husband needs, kids needs, job needs, friends needs, family needs, and we are the last on the totem pole. We'll serve everybody at the table, we'll take our plate last. I will not.
Yeah, you're right.
First, because if like the post said today, I have learned I can truly, honestly love you because I truly, honestly love me. I can truly care about you because I truly care about me. And people, and if you need a scripture for it, it's in Matthew. You love your neighbor as yourself.
As you love yourself.
We love everybody else, but we don't love us.
Exactly.
You are the blueprint. So guess what? However you are treating yourself, that's how you're treating other people. And if you're treating other people better, you're being a hypocrite.
Yes.
That's not the real you. You caught that?
Ooh, yeah.
And I had to learn that. I'm like, you've been Lisa, because
you're loving them from an unauthentic place.
To make sure your kids are well, but you don't break it up to make sure you're well. That's not good. That's not healthy.
Honey.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, do not apologize for anything because we needed we needed all of this. Yeah, all of this because I was listening to the 5 a.m. and the reality, and those projects to me sound like women empowerment music. It's just you've always been singing, at least, and maybe it's just the perspective as to which I listen to it. But even some of your tracks on soul music, it's like you are speaking to the spirit and the soul of the woman to build her up. So I can see you fall right into the place of empowering women because your lyrics have been doing that for years.
Yeah.
Amazing. I think the people in the comments feeling like I'm feeling. You was.
I hear you. That's Charlene. Charlene is hilarious. That's funny, but it's real. I'm just happy for what's happened in my life. I'm just happy for it because it helped me take God out the box. It helped me,
honey.
it helped me it just helped me. It just really helped me make God bigger. I'm like, oh God, I didn't realize how amazing, how mass, and that's how Brilliant was birthed. The song Brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I wrote that song. I was like, oh my God, like my eyes are open.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is, you got it. God, wow. Like I
Yeah.
no longer believe that there's nothing God can't do. And I don't just say it anymore. I actually believe that if
Mm-hmm.
something happens, I'm easier with say, hold on, do you really believe or not? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm cool. And
Mm-hmm.
it literally, I was working on a project today, and I was getting overwhelmed having to learn a new set, a skill set. And I walked away, and I said, God, you're gonna bring it to me when I need to bring it, and you need to bring it to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna walk away. I closed my computer. This just to show you. I closed my computer. True story. True story. When it sat on the couch and sat, just watch a movie. Walk away from it. Just
Mm-hmm.
sit on the couch. Being led, just unction, following the unctions. Just
Mm-hmm.
grab my phone and started researching the product. The product, the product name was Char. That was the name of the product. That was the name of the product. This is weird, but this is how when you make God bigger, you just know God can come any way God wants to come. So
Mm-hmm.
I said, that's weird. Okay, cool. Set my phone down, pick my phone back up to randomly check Instagram. Instagram, the post you talked about that I posted today, a
Mm-hmm.
girl responded to the post. Her name was Char. Now watch this, but Char in a weird way. Schar. How coincidental?
Yeah.
Not even a typical Char, a unique Char. Her
Mm-hmm.
response in my post was the same thing that I walked away from earlier. She was talking about how she works in that field. She said, I know what you mean because da 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 da, and I do this. And I looked, I said, no, no. I said, really, God? I
Yeah.
DM'd her. I said, am I to believe that your name is Shar? She said, yeah. I said, and you work in this field? She was like, yeah. I said, the very thing that I walked away from because I was getting overwhelmed. She said, how can I help you? I will help you figure it out. Don't tell me there's nothing God can't do. I'm sitting here watching a movie, and a girl named Schar comes and says, hey, yeah, I work. So that's why I mean, when God is bigger, you attract that.
Yeah.
When you put God in the box, you attract the box.
Yeah. You're
As
right.
long as you tie my hands, you're not letting me be any bigger than what you can see. So that's what you're gonna get. So if there's lack in your way, that's because you put God in the lack place. You have to take
Mm-hmm.
God out of that box. And people mean well, they
Mm-hmm.
mean well, but they're stopping your greatness. They're stopping your abundance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, I'm done.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Absolutely. My friends that know me, one of the first books I released was called Life Speaks. And I believe God orchestrates those moments
Yeah.
because he's already charting what he knows we need when we don't even know we need it. So yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh Lord, I'm trying to land this plane. I'm trying to land it, Lord. I'm trying to land it.
It's not in vain. This has definitely been a blessing because I just thank God for the women that are on, and so they can
Mm-hmm.
just know that you are you don't have to limit yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and stop walking in fear because a lot of times there were a lot of things that I didn't do because I'm afraid that people are gonna block it. It's gonna get blocked. The greatest thing that I ever did for myself was I put my foot down about how people were gonna treat me. That was the biggest. Now, mind you, it stopped a lot of the calls per se because
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't going to just let people just do me in the kind of way, and it stops
Mm-hmm.
some calls. But you're talking about freedom
Yeah.
because you go from 10 calls of people treating you like crap to two calls of people treating you like royalty. And those
Mm-hmm.
two calls bring such an abundance that it's an overflow of what the 10 calls of frustration would have brought you.
Yeah.
And so I had to, so one of my coaches was telling me, she said, stop letting people nickel and dime you and treating you like anything. So you keep attracting that. And I had to walk away so that I can attract what I am. You're
Mm-hmm.
gonna realize that you work less.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot less energy when you just go in the flow.
Mm-hmm.
That's God. Not, oh, I'm afraid to say something. I'm afraid not to do this because they're gonna turn on me. Let them turn so God can bring the right people in your life. They'll be right.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh my. So I'm going to go ahead and put your website up here.
Okay.
And if you could tell them other ways that they can follow you or connect
Yeah.
with you on any of the social media platforms.
Okay. So my website is on the screen, LisaMcClendonSuccessCoach.com. If you go there now, you will see the front page. But everything will be up by next Monday if you want to revisit it by next Monday. Other than that, I'm on social media. Instagram is I am Lisa McClendon. Facebook is the real Lisa McClendon, and my email is Lisa McClendon Music. So if you just want to just Google Lisa McClendon, McClendon with 2 C's, it'll take you wherever I am on social media. But if you want to just revisit the website, you want to visit the website now, that's fine, and then revisit by Monday, and you'll see all the things that we offer. And we wanted to do that because I wanted to make sure with the coaching we kept the music going too, because people were like, "Where's your music?" So we
Mm-hmm.
let's add the coaching part for the women, and let's also integrate back the music on it as well. So that's
Yes. Yes. So you've dropped so many gems, but I always like to do this. People are still uh echoing what you have said.
yeah.
Amazing, amazing. So do you have any other words of inspiration or encouragement that you want to leave for the women that are on or the women that will catch the replay? Like I said, I know you've dropped so many gems, but if you're hearing anything in the moment that you want to share as a last point of encouragement or empowerment,
Yeah, we
what
had
would
so
you
much.
say?
You're right. It's so much out of chance to say something. I think the most important thing, which is the thing that I just do, is I always tell people. I was talking to a person, and I was telling them, you know what? Let's just be girls. Let's just be women right now. Let's just be women
Okay.
right now, because I feel
Full
like
transparency.
that maybe in some of these situations where there was this guy who was showing interest in me. Come on, Deaconess.
Come
Um,
on.
and he asked something of me that I didn't feel like I needed to give, because
Mm,
it wasn't me giving it freely. You were demanding it of me, and so you were demanding a certain attention from me that. And so I said to him, I said, well, so this is my word to the women. I said to him, I said, well, I want to encourage you to, not be afraid to give it to yourself. So women, this is my word, give it to yourself. Because
mm,
while you're asking me to give you something, I said, it wasn't that you weren't worthy of giving it. I just wasn't thinking about it. But if you wanted it that much, you could have gave it to yourself. And the guy responded, well, I'm needy. Let's just say that was the last conversation we had. That we were done after that. And so I said that to say, I told him, I said, well, one thing I've learned, which is the word I want to give to women, is do not make anybody else responsible for you than you.
mm,
You are responsible for you. I
mm-hmm.
don't. I've learned not to let any man be responsible for my emotions, or woman responsible for my emotions, the choices I make, the direction I go. I go within, and that's important because when we are responsible for ourselves, we don't give people that power over us.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
makes
It
And
makes
so
sense.
it's important to be responsible for you, because now you're not codependent that we talked about. You're not needy, because people think you get in marriages and you escape loneliness. That is a lie. Because what if that spouse comes and they want to be by themselves, they're tired, then you feel insecure. You feel like, oh, you don't love me no more. No, that's your insecurity talking. But if you've learned how to be responsible for your own happiness, your own joy, your own healing, your own health. And I read somewhere the lady said, I don't want to be a half. I want to come whole. And
Mm-hmm.
this is my better half. Better half? Better? So what am I? No,
Right.
we're both better. We're both better wholes, not half.
Mm-hmm.
But that
Right.
comes with being responsible for you, your choices,
Mm-hmm.
your decisions. It is important to go. And so the way you're responsible for you is taking care of you. Taking care of you. This ring on my finger, and this is the last thing I said, this ring on my finger after my divorce, I bought this ring, which is an onyx. I love this ring. And it may sound weird, but it was important for me to do it. I had a ceremony with myself where all those vows I was trying to make men keep to me, I made them vows to myself to love, to honor, to cherish, and to hold. And anytime I find myself going out of those promises I made to myself, I look at that ring, I'm like, oh, dang, I made myself a promise.
Mm.
Myself that I wasn't going to allow myself anymore to get into any relationship of any kind where I compromise who I am, where I
Mm.
compromise what I believe, where I go against what I feel, where you feel good about me, but I don't no longer feel good about me. All those things that I used to do, I do for you, but I don't do for me. I put me on the back burner and I put you in the forefront. I had to promise myself you will no longer do that because you're attracting that. So if you
That's
find
good.
yourself surrounded by a bunch of foolishness and craziness, you got to stop and go within. You got to go within because you are going to, and it's in that book, As a Man Thinketh, we don't attract what we want. We attract who we are.
Yeah.
Point blank, period. You
Yeah.
attract who you are.
Yeah. Woo. This has been so good.
Yeah,
So
it has.
good. Yeah. So ladies, if there's any other gems that she has dropped that you want to drop in the comments, because of time we won't take any questions, but be on the lookout because we got to do something else where we can get it in a space, a sacred space with some women and help them dig into some of these things. I think that your gift is definitely needed in a deeper level. So I'm glad we were able to have this time tonight. So
Yay.
thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
guys that have watched. We will be back next week. Be on the lookout for the announcement. If you're on my email list, you'll get the email as to who my guest will be next week. I am so full, so very grateful for you again, Lisa, for your transparency, for your openness, for your wisdom, for your knowledge, for all of that. I think you have been a tremendous blessing to us on tonight. So
Thank you.
hang out with me for a few minutes here in the studio. Guys, we are about to end this call. Thank y'all for joining us. Hopefully you will be able to connect back next week. You can still share the video because every woman in your life, in your circle, probably needs to watch this video. Make sure you go to where you download music from, type in Lisa McClendon, get some of that good women empowerment music, find her books, so you can begin to help yourself and help others become women who win and continue to win. So you guys, thank you so much for watching and have a good night.